Oh. Hi, young strangers. I'm not used to doing this because my mum isn't here.
What? But I'm right here. Are you starting without me? Get in your chair, child. Honestly, today is a special video. And Madam here thought she'd start without me. A special video because it's our last week, our last Sunday before school starts.
And then I'm going to school, so I won't be here.
So we thought we might smush together the last 3 books of the Old Testament that we've been working through just to tie it all off nicely. And we think that they go together quite well.
Yeah.
So, quickly. Haggai is what, not just yet, Haggai is what we're on at the minute. And Haggai,
that sounds like a
Haggai,
name.
say it together. Haggai.
No.
Okay. So Haggai is quite a short book. And from what I can understand, the main message of it is God saying, okay, you've come back after exile. You're rebuilding. But what about God's temple? What about the place where you remember who you're kind of about? You're all busy building your own houses. Great. But what about me?
I don't like he does that. He's like, what about me?
Do you know houses? You can tell a lot about somebody by their house, can't you?
Yeah, you can tell that if it's like all colourful, they like colours.
Yeah, and you can tell
bright and kind.
If there's lots of trainers in the corner, then they're quite sporty. If there's toys everywhere, there might be young children.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is kind of similar. God's saying, look, you want to rebuild a better life? You want me to be part of that? Then you have to make some space for me. You want me to bless you? Welcome me in. You want to be able to say to all these countries around, we're God's people, then give me a room. You know? Mm-hmm. That's how I would read it. And actually, something you and I have both done is create a little space in our homes, haven't we?
Yes.
Which we call our sacred spaces.
I don't use it that much because I always forget to. I don't have enough time to. So
we have plenty of time to, but we do sometimes forget. Something I like to do is kind of redecorate it every now and again and put new things in there. Mm-hmm. So I thought we could just share a little bit about what we do in our spaces. So if I could just leave that to the end and just explain that in a minute. So have you brought something to show?
Can you show your thing?
Sure. So what I do is to kind of keep it up to date, make sure I keep noticing my sacred spaces. I might put things in it from nature because as the seasons change round, it reminds me about all the different times in my life and the different ways God shows up and helps me, just like he does in the world. So for the kind of harvest autumn coming, and summer, we often think about wheat growing. We think about the harvest. These are some pretty grasses that I picked up because you can see these little seeds here. And I thought it would be fun I actually soaked these for a little bit in water so that I could plait them easily. And I made a little decoration for my sacred space. And this reminds me that even if I think things are moving quite slowly, God might be growing special things in my life that I might be able to enjoy later. Mm-hmm. That there is fruit to come, that there is good things to come. So that's what this helps me think about. I also put candles. Now, if you're young or have very fire conscious parents,
don't do this.
Don't use a real candle. You can get little battery ones.
Can I go and grab one?
Go ahead, go and grab one of yours.
I'll
keep talking. Francesca has a lot of little battery operated candles that she can put in her room and they're completely safe. And I have lots of different holders. This one is actually one that Francesca bought me as a present from a church fair. And just lighting a candle and having some beautiful light in that space helps me to focus and create some space for God. Here she comes. You can hear her thundering down the stairs.
I'm not an elephant.
She's our little elephant on the stairs. Come and show. You're attacking the piano on the way. There we go. Can you show them your little
Yeah, it's
your little things. Yeah. Come on then.
These, I'm out of the picture. I've got like 4.
Got lots.
But
lots and lots.
These.
Turn it on then.
2-pack. You really can't see it, can you?
If I just... There we go. Create a bit of dark. It's okay, look. Created a little bit of dark. You can make them shine.
What about these ones? Do they get brighter?
I don't think so. Another thing I've got here, so sometimes I might include presents from people. They help me think of the person who gave it as well as the beauty of the gift itself. This was from my sister.
I love that.
I think it was in my stocking this year at Christmas, and it says peace on it, which is just a lovely reminder.
Last year.
And sometimes it's nice to have something to hold as we're praying and as we're thinking about God.
Talking about that.
You've got something you hold. Go on then.
I don't use it much, but I have a cross.
So this is a holding cross. There's a lovely Christian bookshop.
It's a bit wonky.
In the market in Lincoln. Wonky. It is a bit wonky, but it's wonky on purpose because it's a holding cross, so it fits beautifully in your hand and you can hang on to it, and there's no sharp edges.
No.
That's made of olive wood, and we got that from the Christian bookshop in the market.
You started having that and you gave it to me, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't it beautiful?
Another thing I put in my sacred space to make space for God in my home are pictures. I've got some water on this at some point. Pictures that remind me of parts of God I'm trying to think about, stories that mean a lot to me, or even just different ways of showing stories. You want to hold it. So can anybody guess what story this is? Can you guess?
Don't think wait. It's a man on a boat near hills.
And he's walking on water.
Wait, no, he's not.
This tells the story of Peter. And Peter's out with the disciples on the boat. And they're waiting for Jesus. And Jesus shows up walking on the water. And they don't know it's him at first. And they're terrified. I mean, you would be, right? If you saw somebody randomly walking across a lake at night towards you, you'd think what they thought, which was ghost. And Jesus goes, I'm not a ghost. Come on out to me, Peter. And Peter's the only one who's brave enough. And he jumps out. And he starts to walk on the water towards Jesus. And then he notices the wind and he notices the water and he takes his eyes off Jesus and he starts to sink. And Jesus pulls him up and says, "Oh, you of little faith, Peter. Didn't you know I was here all along?" Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. But when we think of that story, we often think a bit poorly of Peter, I think, because Peter didn't have enough faith and he started falling through the water. Why I like this picture is it points out that it's not a simple thing to step out in faith, that there might be wind around, there might be waves around. It's very scary and distracting. It's not a sort of peaceful, very concentrated spiritual exercise. It's pure guts to get out of the boat and keep your eyes on God and keep walking. Never mind the noise all around you. So I have that in my sacred space. And this is just a little bottle of perfume. Thank you, that's very close. A little bottle of perfume. Now, I don't actually have this in my sacred space, but I brought it to show you. They can't sniff it, darling. You sniff it and tell us what you think.
Ooh, it smells like Granny's house.
In the Old Testament, people would burn incense. They would make sweet smells. I burn incense, but it's a bit difficult to show you. So I burn incense, or you can burn smelly candles, or a safer option is to have a little bit of nice smelliness. Now, if your grown-ups don't want to give you a little bit of smelliness, what you can do is you can get strips of paper and you can ask your grown-up to dip a little bit in it, and then you could take that smelly bit of
just
paper
like when
into
I made
your
the
sacred
perfume,
space.
I was making my own perfume.
And you can just refresh it every now and again. But sometimes having beautiful smells, it's all different ways we can use our body to connect to God. And the last thing, so excuse all the mess behind us because we've just come back from camping.
I don't even know if they can see all
They
this.
might not be able to see all of it. But again, talking about nature, so I saw this when we were on a little walk while we were camping, and I wanted to show it to you. Don't know how well you can see this.
Acorns.
These are acorns from an oak tree. Now, what I love about this, I'm going to try and show you. So we have here an acorn.
And it's ripped apart.
It's ripped apart. It's almost grown too quickly and it's sort of burst. And we have here an acorn that's just about perfect, but it's not ripe yet. And we have another one.
And that one's
here.
perfect.
And we have one here. Can you see?
It's still growing.
It's still tiny. It was still trying to grow when it blew off the tree. And I love this because on the same tree, on the same branch of the tree, we have different parts of growing. And I can get really frustrated if I'm working really hard at a project or I'm trying to get really, really good at patience.
And nothing's happening.
And nothing's happening. I can feel like nothing's happening. But maybe in that area, I'm this one. And I'm just still growing. Yeah? And maybe in other areas, I'm nearly there. Nearly there. And I just found that really encouraging. And I think we can look at nature and it can give us ideas about the God who created it, about how God works. God doesn't make everything ripen all at once, because then there wouldn't be any food for the birds or us at any other time of the year, does he? We don't have to ripen all at once. We can learn at our own pace. I love that. So I just wanted to show you little ideas from what we put in our sacred space, ways that we try and make space for God. He doesn't get a whole temple in our house, but he gets a little space that we try and keep for thinking
My
about
mum's
him.
mine.
Pop them down for a minute then. So next book, Zechariah. Rushing through Zechariah. Zechariah feels to me like a great summary of an awful lot of the books of the prophets all the way through the Old Testament, where the basic message is this verse. This is what the Lord Almighty said. Administer true justice.
I'm very tired from camping.
Show mercy and compassion to one another. Do not oppress, that means don't bully the widow
Do not bully.
or the fatherless, the foreigner or the poor.
Or the lost.
And don't plot evil against each other. Simple rules, right? Nice enough.
Yeah, but you can't always do it.
Don't be horrid, basically.
No.
Particularly don't be horrid to people who are weaker than you, who have less than you.
Pick on people your own size.
Well, ideally, not at all. But they refused to pay attention. Stubbornly, they turned their backs and covered their ears. Have you ever wanted to cover your ears if your teacher or
So
me
much.
tells you, yeah, okay, so we cover our... Well, people did that to God. They wouldn't listen to those rules for living. And so they had a lot of trouble as a result. And then zooming into Malachi, Malachi reminds us of what matters to God. What shows him that we love him. And again, these
This
are quite
smells so
straightforward. Does it smell really good? Giving our best, not our leftovers. So in the Old Testament, people were asked to sacrifice animals, okay, which is a strange idea for us, but they weren't supposed to sacrifice the little ones that they wouldn't get much money for at market.
That's a bit sad.
They had to sacrifice the best, okay? So don't give God your leftovers. That's why I try and do sacred space thinking and praying to God in the mornings, because by the end of the day, I'm wrecked. By the end of the day, he's getting leftovers. So I try and give him the first time in the morning. You know, in the morning, the first thing you want to look at is your phone.
No, the first thing I want to look at is you.
Oh, she's sucking up. Then it's her phone.
Yes.
Then it's a phone.
My
We
phone's
know the
charging.
first thing we want to do in the day is the
Is look
thing
at our
that
phone.
we've given a really big place in our hearts.
Message people. Message
I
Dad.
do the same. I do the same. It's good, though, to give that first time to God. God also wants us to be good to our loved ones. That's not a terrible thing to ask, is it?
No, it's easy. I love you.
And being just and fair, fighting injustice, just like that verse from Zechariah. Don't be mean to people, but more than don't be mean to people, fight against it. What charities can you raise money for?
We raise a lot of money for a lot of charity.
Yeah, well, there was a really easy way to raise money for charity for Action for Children.
Boycott your bed.
And so many people supported us. We raised £100. Thank you, everybody. Just by sleeping on our front room floor. I mean, it's a bit pathetic, really, actually, as an attempt. But we had fun. Is there a
There were lots of
charity?
entertainment as well.
Is there a charity you could sign up to support?
No.
Are there people that you're really worried about in the world that you could find more out about? Are there people in your classroom that might be extra specially nervous about starting school that you could keep an eye out and see if you could be extra loving towards? How can you be good to people? Yeah, I think a lot of people are a bit nervous. And then this last one, trusting God's provision by not keeping everything for ourselves. Now, don't be selfish. The way Malachi talks about this is tithing. Now, tithing in church terms means if I get 10 monies. So if I earn £10, I give £1 back to God.
What?
So that
selfish.
So that money can go to the church to help feed the poor, or pay our minister, or pay for the electricity that runs the building that I enjoy doing. Right. So if I earn £20, I can give £2.
£10.
If I earn £100, I can give £10. I mean, I can always give more, but tithing was a general rule to help us to remember that, you know what?
Don't be selfish.
Don't be selfish. That 1 out of 10 we can afford to give away. Now imagine, we're going to practice. Imagine that I have a bag of marshmallows. Imagine that I have 10 pieces left. I might want all of them. But if I look into my bag of marshmallows, there's a lot there. I can easily afford to give away at least one. And that's what Malachi is trying to teach and remind people, that if everybody gave away 1 out of 10 things that they had, leave the marshmallows.
I'm going to give you one.
I don't want one, thank you very much. If everybody gave away 1 out of the 10 things they have, we'd be such more sharing, generous people. Because if we have 9 left for ourselves, what are we complaining about? It's easy to give away 1. Well, we're nearly done.
Okay.
So that basically sums it up, I think. We can create a sacred space with beautiful things in them. Make space for God in your home. We can give him our best moments. We can give him our best gifts.
This is a long video.
It is, isn't it? Minutes. Well, it's our last one, so tough.
It's 17 minutes.
We can be good to our loved ones. How can we serve people? How can we think, who do I love? How can I show them that I love them today?
I love you.
That's a good start. How can I fight injustice? And how can I share good things with the church back to God? How can I give things away from me to the people that God loves? And that's us. We hope you've enjoyed this video series.
Wait.
Oh. She's going to play us out.
Oh, the piano isn't on.
Yay! Thank you everybody for watching. All the very best as you go into this next academic year. Oi, shush you. And keep a weather eye open on... No, stop a minute. Keep a weather eye open on our Young Spirits Facebook page.
I don't have a Facebook, so I have no idea what she's talking about.
Search up or just find...
Facebook.
You can email us via the Monks Road Methodist website as well. Stop. But keep an eye open, because we're going to, although our church services are going to go back, our Young Spirits Morning Breakfast Club group, where we usually would meet in person, we're going to do that online at 9 o'clock in the morning, so that we can finish by 10, which means most people will then have time to whiz over to their church services if they are doing so in person. So if you want to join us, you are most welcome. We're meeting by Zoom. Me and Tim, who runs it with me, will be facilitating. We'll be doing some fun stuff online. Parents, very welcome to join. We'll be there most weeks, and we'll put little updates, and we'll set it up as an event on the Young Spirits Facebook page. Okay, that's it. That's us. We're out. Bye.